Superman Returns is the next movie we are looking at in this retrospective series. This is the first one and the only one with Brandon Routh coming in as Superman and Clark Kent. Now, this one is very different. It's not attached to the previous four Superman movies that we have talked about. It's not attached to Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman. This is its own little pocket Elseworld story. So we're going to talk about Superman Returns. So let me know your thoughts on this movie. What did you guys think? Smash it down there. Smash that like button. Click subscribe. And let's get into this retrospective look into Superman Returns. Okay, so Superman Returns is this little Elseworld story that is all about Superman who leaves planet Earth. That's right, he leaves. So we don't get any origin story or any backstory to really let's be real. We already know the story of Superman. How did he get to planet Earth? We know that. We don't need to see it again. We don't need that. So I'm glad they didn't do that. So this one, he actually leaves Earth after Krypton has been discovered. The humans will be like, well, Krypton's still there and that. So he goes and leaves to go and see it. It's been 5 years. And now it's about him returning to Earth. And after being gone for so long, how does Earth accept him back into society? What are the people closest to him going to think? And Lex Luthor, obviously, is going to be a major part. Now, firstly, I just want to say, we know everything with Kevin Spacey. We know everything that's happened with him. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about Superman Returns. So I'm going to be talking about Lex Luthor as a character. I know what Kevin Spacey has done and everything like that, but we're not here again to talk about that. So we're just going to be talking about Lex Luthor when it comes to this movie. Now, obviously, we have Brandon Routh coming in as Clark Kent and Superman. And firstly, I really enjoy Brandon Routh as Clark Kent and Superman. He just looks, has there really been a bad casting when it comes to Superman? Christopher Reeve looks like this exactly what you'd think Superman would look like. Brandon Routh looks absolutely like Superman as well. Henry Cavill is literally Superman as well. And even Tyler Hoechlin in Superman and Lois is Superman. They just do a fantastic job of casting Superman. And Brandon Routh just fits the role. Again, he uses an idea of what Christopher Reeve did with the quirkiness of Clark Kent and the sort of formidable, confident version of Superman. He does a very similar role to it, but makes it his own. And I actually think he may play the nerdy Clark Kent more better than Christopher Reeve. I do think that Brandon Routh is very underrated as Superman and Clark Kent. I think he is absolutely fantastic. He is brilliant throughout this movie. I really enjoyed his arc. I do think Superman Returns is underrated. I think this is an underrated movie. I really appreciate them doing something different. Now, we look back at the other four that we've seen already, and Man of Steel, and obviously you guys have probably seen Batman vs Superman. We'll be looking at that one next. Now, they were trying to do something different with the idea of Superman leaving and coming back. So, I really appreciate them trying to give us a different Superman story rather than him just, being Superman like we've seen before. So, I enjoy that aspect. Is it perfect? No, this isn't a perfect movie by any means, but I do think it's underrated. I actually thoroughly enjoy this movie a lot more than I thought I originally did. And that obviously comes down to how they were able to bring Superman back from being gone so long and the way that he is played into society and how he is now emotionally trying to deal with Lois moving on from him. So I like that mental struggle that he's having. I think it worked really, really well for me personally. And we also find out that he has a son in this one. So obviously he spent the night with Lois and they have a son. And you find out that throughout the episode. And I like how he just didn't take over. And it felt authentic. So I really enjoy that aspect about it. Now, when it comes to Lex Luthor, I do like this version of Lex Luthor. I think he is menacing. I do think he actually is more smart than the other versions of Lex that I have seen in the previous four Superman movies. I do like him. I feel like he is a bit more intimidating. And he does give that vibe of I feel like he could find a way to beat Superman. So for me, Kevin Spacey's Lex Luthor is actually feels a lot like Lex Luthor, which is what I come to expect, because I didn't find him to be Lex Luthor in the four previous movies. And then when we get to Batman vs Superman, that's gonna be a whole nother different story. That's gonna be another can of worms that we're gonna open. But there is one thing in here that I really particularly did not like, and it is the coloration of the actual Superman suit itself. Like the actual cape itself and the S itself don't look red. It looks like a very browny maroon sort of vibe when you're watching it, which for me kind of takes away that beacon of hope. It just looks like a more, I don't know, drowned out Superman, lifeless Superman, if you know what I mean. Like when you see that bright red, that bright blue, and that yellow, you just see hope. You see that beacon, you see that shining light. And I felt like that just wasn't here with that suit. And look, I get it. Like, you got to remember this is the times again. So the visual effects in here, some of it is good, and then some of it you can notice that it's not Brandon Routh. You can notice that it's CGI and stuff like that. It's understandable. This was like, what, 2006. So you look at it compared to Man of Steel, and then now the stuff that we're getting now, like Avatar, Way of Water, like it just blows it out of the water. So you got to take that with a grain of salt. But I just wish they did the suit better. I really did. I just felt like the color was off. So for me, that is a downfall. And there are particular moments in here where the pacing is kind of a bit long. Like, this is a 2.5 hour movie. I feel like it didn't need to be 2.5 hours. Like that, the whole last hour is just jam packed. But it's the first hour and a half that is kind of very much slow paced. I mean, I get it. They're trying to reintroduce Clark and Superman, which I mean, I'm sorry, but I find this very stupid. I must say. Clark's gone for 5 years, Superman's gone for 5 years. All of a sudden, Superman shows up and Clark shows up at the same time. Now, I mean, it's not rocket science, is it? I mean, I get it. The glasses thing, I understand. I can suspend belief. But when someone disappears for 5 years, and then the other person like Superman disappears for 5 years, and then they reappear at the same time, you gotta start questioning things. That's why I really enjoyed it when James Marsden's character actually started to question a little bit of it in the movie here, where he says to Lois, how tall do you think Clark is? Because Superman is like, what, 6'3" or something like that? And what do you reckon Clark is? It's about 6'3" or something like that. But then obviously he tries to act goofy and stuff, and they're like, no, I can't be Clark. But, I mean, you gotta kind of question it, don't you? You really do. But, look, when it comes to motive for Lex is obviously they bring back the whole idea of him wanting to basically create his own landmass, which I like the idea of that, but then again, could you be a bit more creative with the motive? Yes, you could be. But obviously they bring that back, and he wants to kill Superman as well, and he always does. But I really like that moment where we see Brandon Routh get the actual kryptonite in his back, and then he flies up into the sun after he's been saved by Lois and stuff like that to recharge, and he comes down with a vengeance. And I love that shot of that real close-up shot of Brandon Routh's face with the eyes, how angry he is for what Lex is doing. He goes down and he picks up basically kryptonite that is being built in the water, and picks it up and flies it up. And then obviously we have him in the emergency room afterwards because of the kryptonite, and this is where he finds out it's his son. So overall, for me, Superman Returns is definitely underrated. I don't think this is like one of the worst Superman movies. There are some really cool action sequences, especially the plane sequence where he saves the plane. Love that moment. That is up there as one of my top favorite Superman moments. It is fantastic the way that he saves it. I do feel like Brandon Routh, Superman, is just brilliant. I really do. And I really wish we got more of him as Superman. Like, to me, him and Val Kilmer are the two people that I wish we got to see more of with their characters. Val Kilmer with Batman, I really think he's an underrated Batman. I'd love to see more of him as Batman. Brandon Routh is the exact same. And I feel like he deserved more than one movie. He deserved to do multiple movies because he was that good as Superman. So, I like it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What did you think of Superman Returns? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Smash it down there. Smash that like button. Click subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, stay safe and peace out.